Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right there. First of all, I think I should explain where I've been for the last couple of months. As you might know if you watched any of my previous videos, my laptop isn't exactly state of the art, let's put it like that. And exactly that was a problem because, as you might have known, there was like this small little indie game set release last year that like a couple of people were looking forward to, and that's a fucking lie. Everyone was hyped for Cyberpunk. People took days off work, some of them got tattoos. My friend bought a Cyberpunk themed shirt and refused to sell it for 3 times its value. What the fuck? So yeah, I guess you could say that people are looking forward to this game quite a bit. But I actually had to get a new computer before the game came out because I sure as hell wouldn't have been able to play this game on my Switch or my 3DS. Yeah, that won't work. So I got a job, started working 9 to 5, taking extra hours whenever I could while still going to university, which is a bad fucking idea. I don't ever do that. But at the end of the day, I got my computer and I even managed to get exactly the components I wanted to have. And when the launch day came around, I woke up at 3 AM, turned on my PC and started playing the game. And while I genuinely enjoyed most of my time spent in Night City, there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about, so let's not waste any more time here and get right to it. Okay, so this is probably one of, if not the strongest point Cyberpunk has to offer. Night City is massive. Even after all time I spent driving around, climbing buildings and running through back alleys, I still get lost in Night City, and trust me, I mean that in a good way. And even though this game might fall short of other games in terms of pure map size, it more than makes up for it in its verticality. Buildings tower one another, roads are built over roads which are yet again built over roads, and even though that sounds like this map is just a total clusterfuck of map design, I still managed to memorize parts of it because each city district looks so different from one another. You have your really rundown and dirty districts like Pacifica and Santo Domingo, middle class districts like Westbrook and Haywood, and of course the high class districts like the crowded city center, the mansion riddled North Oak, and the almost Wall Street like Charter Hill. Are you okay, buddy? And I didn't even start talking about the Badland, which while not as varied as Night City, still have a ton to show. But having a map like this doesn't really mean anything if you give the game a crazy bus treatment. So, how does Cyberpunk sound?
Call for fucking backup!
I mean, do I really need to add anything? I mean, everything in this game sounds on point. The guns all have that certain to them. The melee weapons sound like they can cut a boulder in half. And the ambience is filled with distant traffic, gunshots, and advertisements. Time to go to my apartment. Oh no, open the door, let me the fuck out! Yeah, most of the ads are quite sexual. And even the NPCs are all voiced amazingly well. And as far as I can tell, that doesn't only apply for the English voiceover, but for all of them. And let's not forget about the soundtrack. Holy hell, the soundtrack is so fucking good. I'm a big fan of industrial game scores in general, but CD Projekt absolutely hit the ball out of the park on that one.
Home run!
I mean, you have everything from really epic combat music to almost threatening and creepy music. And it all sounds so fantastic and it still gives me goosebumps. Even if you're not interested in the game in the slightest, but like the soundtrack of Portal, Blade Runner and Co., I highly encourage you to listen to this one. And the same applies to the music in the world of Cyberpunk. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the music in this game fucking slaps. All the songs sound so good, and I even mean the genres I normally wouldn't listen to. And I even listen to the Cyberpunk soundtrack on my way to work. And people who know me know that I only listen to the best music when I'm driving. And when I'm playing Beat Saber, the Cyberpunk songs are some of the first to come on. Shit. Never said I was any good though. Really, now that I think about it, the only issue I have with the sound is that it's sometimes played twice at the same moment, or that it just stops out of nowhere. Yeah, well, let's talk about the gameplay. Okay, this is gonna be rather controversial. First of all, a thing you should know is that I'm actually one of the 3 people in existence that enjoyed car handling in GTA 4. So of course I think the car handling in Cyberpunk is... fine. Given the first car you get hands like an absolute brick, so I get why many people's initial reaction about the driving was rather negative, but just like in any other game, you can actually learn how to drive in Night City. And while it never reaches the heights of a GTA 5, for example, it can still be quite a lot of fun. Still better than Watch Dogs 2, that's for sure. However, the bikes are a completely different story. You probably didn't see it, but I was steering left as hard as I could, so... yeah, that's fun. But the driving is only part of the fun in Cyberpunk. So how does the combat fare? First, let's talk guns. Well, won't you look at that? Okay, while it might not be that bad, aiming and shooting just feels off and imprecise. I've had friends watch me play and make fun of how I can't aim and do any damage, and trust me, that's only partly due to my utter incompetence when it comes to FPS games. And that sucks even more knowing that you have all these cool looking and sounding weapons in your arsenal, but as soon as you take them out and shoot them, they just go... But hey, at least you still have Meele Combat, right? Oh. I mean, do I really need to add anything? Each melee weapon only has one takedown animation. If you throw a knife, you can't pick it up afterwards, and there's just a lot less variety in melee weapons than in guns. But at least most melee weapons are kinda strong and make you feel like a cyber ninja. Or at least they do, for as long as they don't decide to glitch. But there's one more gameplay aspect we need to talk about, seeing that this is an RPG. And I'm of course talking about the Skilltree. Ah! Oh shit, there was something on the back. Yeah, the Skilltree fucking reeks. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some cool stuff to unlock, like, more inventory space. I mean, I like to carry a lot of stuff with me. And to be fair, it's not like most skills are unbelievably awful. Most of them are pretty okay even. It's just that some skills range from straight up useless to negative for your whole gameplay experience. Like the commando skill that makes it so that your enemies can't see you underwater. I am not even shitting you, the only time I was underwater in this game, aside from one quest that doesn't even involve fighting, was when I crashed my car on a bridge. So that's fucking useless. And when you see stuff like that, it really makes you wonder if sometime throughout the game's development they had to cut some content. Let me get this out of the way in case you haven't noticed yet. This game is by a long shot the best looking game I've played so far. Random NPCs look better than main characters in many other games. The cars, the buildings, the streets, they're all just packed with detail. The only things that kinda suck are that the blur graphics are quite a bit better than Battlefield Hardline in my opinion, and that whenever I play the game on medium to high settings, my computer just goes... Oh no, that can't be good. I think it's time for me to admit that I haven't been exactly honest throughout this video. In fact, this game launched, and at least at the time of writing this, still is in a horrible state, both on a technical level and also content-wise. But let's talk about my computer blowing itself to pieces first. I really don't want to sound mean, but this game is optimized like a bitch. I understand that you need new hardware to play most next-gen games on high settings with a decent frame rate, but the catch is that I have that new hardware. And I'm still not able to play the game on native resolution with a decent frame rate. And from what I can tell, the game on PlayStation looks like this. And that's just not acceptable on most of your player bases on last-gen consoles. But at least only the performance is bad. The rest of the game should be good, right? This game is the buggiest game I've seen since that dumpster fire. I've had people get stuck in cars, I had cars get stuck in other cars, sometimes cars just fly away for no apparent reason. That actually happened rather often. Sometimes my character does this, holy shit, censor that. This bug happened in the first mission, it happened again when I replayed the scene to capture the footage. Another mission softlocked me from finishing it and I had to replay that one 5 times. And that also happened to 2 of my friends. Dude, just move. But it's not like all the glitches ruin my gameplay. I would almost say that some of them improved it by quite a bit. Of course, on the one hand, you have really absurd moments that might break your immersion but are just hilarious to look at, like this one. And this one. Like, what the fuck? But what if I told you that there were some bugs in the game that make you stronger than even CD Projekt envisioned? Don't believe me? Well, then just buy the currency of cyberware, dash to the left or the right while aiming our sight, spam forward or spam the aim button, and you go. I am not even gonna lie, I had way too much fun with this bug. Bunny hopping all over the place or making really close jumps is genuinely a cool gameplay experience. And it just sucks that I feel like a filthy cheater whenever I do it. They should actually implement something like that in the game, especially seeing that you have enemy classes that do that exact same thing. You can also slide just before I drop off a building and get 0 fall damage, which is cool, but come on, it's not as cool as the last one. But it's not like those are Cyberpunk's only technical flaws. Oh no, there's something far worse you need to... There's something... Dude, shut up!
Come on!
Yeah, the NPCs in this game kinda suck. They can barely move on their own. Enemies have the hardest time walking around and always fall over one another. As soon as you shoot one shot, they are scared for all of eternity. Or at least until they despawn. Holy shit, where did everyone go? The same also happens the other way around with the police who just spawns in right behind you and then they can't even chase you with the car. Whenever I talk to a random NPC, they're either really pissed off or they want to have sex with me. Holy shit, it's that easy? And all in all, I find it really strange that this game has worse NPCs than Saints Row 4. Again, they're set in a simulation and actively tries to make the NPCs glitch out and be bad. You know what, maybe I'm going a bit hard on this game. It's not like they promised us new and improved NPC technology with the most realistic NPC system out to date. Right? This game is full of lost potential, lacks a lot of content. And to be fair, that wouldn't be such a negative thing if they wouldn't have promised us otherwise. This game was basically hyped out to be the ultimate game. A game where you could do anything. You can drive cars, shoot guns, have sex. Many people hype for the latter one, maybe a bit too many. Kinda weird, guys. But what we ended up having was a pretty good looking open world with mediocre mechanics, nothing really to do, and just a lot of bugs. And by now you probably ask yourself, why do you have that many hours in the game that you clearly don't like that much? And well, that's because I didn't start talking about the part that I do like yet. That being the story. The stories told in Cyberpunk are probably some of the best stories I played in the last couple of years. And yes, that also includes Super Mario Party. It has been a long time since I played the last game where it generally upset me to play the last mission involving a specific character because I didn't want to see them go. But in this game, that almost plays for every single character because the writing is just so good. And even while celebrity performances like Keanu Reeves and Grimes might not be as good as other characters, they add so much to the game. And that comes from someone who hasn't even played all the side quests yet. All in all, it really sucks to see a campaign this good be stuck in the game this broken and unfinished. This game was clearly rushed to the market way before it was really finished. But you know what? Seeing that there are apparently up to 5,000 people working on this game at some point, I feel pretty confident saying that they probably fixed the game-breaking bugs, increased the performance on last-gen consoles, and maybe even add some of the old content back in the next 1 or 2 months. What the fuck? Hey, anyone of you still remember this broken mess? Yeah, didn't think so. I think it's pretty clear to see that those 1 or 2 months I was talking about earlier didn't really match up. The initial launch of the game has been a little bit over 7 months ago, but neither the performance, the bugs, and especially not the gameplay have been improved in the way that people were hoping for. So what happened so that a multi-billion-dollar company like CD Projekt couldn't fix their game in over half a year? Well, let me give you a little rundown of all the things that happened after the game's launch on December 10th, 2020. First of all, I think I should mention that even though the reviews of Cyberpunk were pretty good, most people fucking hated CD Projekt when this game came out, and honestly, I can understand why. They were promised an extremely polished and expansive experience, and what they got was more in line with a linear story game than a full-on RPG. Oh, and the fact that the game ran like piss on console also didn't really help that public perception. So the studio that was once praised for creating one of the best RPGs quickly became the biggest laughingstock of the gaming industry, and CD Projekt knew they had to do something about that, because nothing is more important to them than their loyal and supportive fanbase. And also their stock prices were dropping like big time. So they did the right thing and started to offer refunds for all versions of the game, without letting any of the sales platforms know. Oh, they always find a new way to fuck up, don't they? And let me tell you, Sony was not having it. In fact, they pulled the game off the store only a couple of hours after CDPR announced a new refund model. But that didn't change the fact that people were still hating on the company, with many artists and game devs even getting death threats. So the co-founder of CDPR, Marcin Nowinski, stood up for the company and publicly apologized for the messy launch, even owning up for most of it himself. And in the same video, he also announced a roadmap which included multiple patches, DLCs, and a next-gen update. Overall, the community actually liked this video a lot, with many people hoping for a No Man's Sky-esque recovery. Things were finally looking up for the game. But apparently CD Projekt just can't catch a break. Because only around a month later, they let the public know they've been hit by a cyber attack by a group who appears to be very good at writing the most generic ransom notes. Not only did this push back updates for Cyberpunk, but it also gave the group access to the source code of Cyberpunk, Witcher 3, and to an unreleased version of Witcher 3. Given their current situation and lack of trust in the company, CD Projekt also announced that they'll stop working on one game at a time, and from now on split their development over all their IPs. But they also announced that the upcoming multiplayer for Cyberpunk will be reduced in scope, which really sucks to hear, because I always thought that a good multiplayer is just the thing the franchise needs right now. Oh, and remember the cyber attack? Well, the hackers went through that threat and actually released the stolen data on the internet for everyone to see, including a pre-launch bug compilation by the name of, and I swear I'm not making this up, Cyber El Bugado 2020, which shows a lot of bugs in the game's really early stages and also a really dope looking hot dog bike. I really hope this is gonna be DLC content. But what about those upcoming patches I mentioned earlier? Well, we got those, and we got even quite a couple, so let's take a look at what they improved. One thing they definitely improved was the performance, both on PC and on console. While it might not be as noticeable on PC, oh, I think the patch is installed. The game is definitely now much more playable on console than it used to be. But that doesn't really mean all too much. Games like Red Dead 2, Forza Horizon and Control all run amazing, even on Last Chance-based consoles, and they all have mechanics at least on par with Cyberpunk, sometimes even far greater. So of course these performance updates can't be final. I mean, it's clear this can't be called a finished game. But how did the bugs and glitches fare? Well, I recorded this a day ago. Yeah, the game is still really buggy. Enemies and NPCs still spawn out of thin air. Cars still really hate any form of collision. And weirdly enough, I found a new bug since version 1.2 where everything just sounds like this. Yikes. But they at least fixed quite a couple of bugs. People T-post way less often, the cars handle a fair bit better, and most NPCs now have more dialogue than "Hey, I'll f*** you," and "Hey, I'll f*** you up."
I have no reason to live.
But most of the patches still feel pretty low effort. For example, the police are no longer spawns on 6 feet in front of you, but 12 feet in front of you and behind a car. But a fix this easy surely can't be the final fix, right? I'm sure that just like the performance, the bugs and the glitches will be improved upon until this game is a perfect game through and through. Well, looks like someone doesn't have the highest ambitions. So yeah, looks like this current version of Cyberpunk is enough to call it a day on CDPR's end. I mean, the game is on the PlayStation Store again. And honestly, that sucks to hear, because this game would have had so much more potential if they would just fix the game. Or, Lord forbid, release the game when it's ready. But of course we will probably get updates down the line, but for the time being, this game should really be a warning to all game studios to only release a game when it's really ready. But now for the question of the day, should you actually pick up Cyberpunk? Well, that depends. If you're on console and you manage to get this far without getting the game spoiled for yourself, I would just wait until you either have a better system to play the game on, or until they release the next gen update and patch the current gen a bit more. But if you have a decent PC and you want to play the game mainly for its atmosphere and story, I'd recommend this game to you. Just don't expect this game to be the way they initially promised it to be. But I don't want to end this video on such a bad note, so here's some video game recommendations for you to play instead of Cyberpunk. Are you looking for a good open world game? Well, give one of those a shot. You want to gain a show off some graphics? Well, try one of these. Maybe you just want a good story game. How about you try one of those? Or how about a racing game? The new GTA update is pretty good. Or maybe you like Knockout City. This one doesn't really have anything to do with Cyberpunk. I just really like Knockout City. And if you really want to play a game like Cyberpunk on the Switch, well, I guess you can... Well, looks like we won't be using this stuff from now on.